Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
So we're a little discombobulated lately, Pete.
Tired is the word, I think. It's just, I don't know, this seems like more like a marathon than a sprint over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I hear you. I was at the senior center over the weekend. I had really worked hard at not going in both days over the weekend. And I was having some moderate success with that until, then it comes to newsletter time. I feel like I just keep rewriting the newsletter because I get it 95% done and ready to send over to Jim Corwin at the paper. And then things change and life around us changes. And that means we're changing. And it's like, okay, scrap that article, write a new article. So
I need to message Gary and have him take you on a day trip somewhere.
Oh, my goodness. It has just been crazy. Well, we actually have a wedding that we're going to in
that doesn't count.
Couple of weeks. Well, but we're going away for the wedding. And it's like an overnight at the wedding. So
I suppose.
See how that goes. Well,
I did 27 hours in Florida over the weekend.
You did? What do you mean you did 27 hours in Florida?
I flew down there Friday morning, and then I flew back Saturday night.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, do tell, because...
it was a Babe Ruth thing.
I know nothing about this.
It all started with I had airline credit dollars that were going to expire.
Right.
And it was like over $300.
Yeah.
So I told Babe Ruth, I said, listen, find me a hotel or cover my expenses. I'll pay for the flight because I already have the money. Mm-hmm. And I'll just fly down there for like 24 hours, fix stuff that just I couldn't fix while I was down there. Like literally just cleaning cables.
Yeah.
Coiling cables, tacking them up off the floor that have been there for years.
Yeah.
Just the place is a mess.
Where is the place though? Like what is it, Pete? What is it?
It's a baseball park.
Okay. And so
there's an IT closet.
Okay.
In the field house or the concession stand house with the bathrooms and all that stuff. And so we have a couple of those closets in the different complexes, and I was going to clean up two of them. One was our main complex, which has gotten cables piled on top of cables, and it's just a disaster.
Yeah.
So it's like I've been trying to bang that out, and it just...
Yeah, you can't do it.
There was no time when I was down there, and then I had to leave, and then I was like, well, I got this money. It's got to be used by September 24th. I can't think of anywhere else to fly right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me just go down there and go do my thing and come back. And that's pretty much what I did.
Wow.
One night in a hotel, fly down there.
Yeah.
I had to fly through Chicago going down there, and then I flew direct back. So
yeah. Wow. That is a lot. Did you feel like you got a lot accomplished?
Yes.
That's how I measure my weekends. It's like,
I was going to get more.
How was your weekend? Well, I got a lot done, so it was good.
Yeah, I was going to get more accomplished, and then I was coming out of one of the fields on Saturday afternoon around 1 o'clock. I'm like, I got to leave about 2:30. I got to be at the airport around 5. And my cousin called me, and his wife passed away unexpectedly.
Okay.
They got diagnosed with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
One of the side effects that people have been reporting is tachycardia, a racing heartbeat.
Yep.
And so she's bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And he said she woke up Saturday morning, couldn't catch her breath, obviously tachycardia.
Oh my goodness.
And then they raced her to the hospital, and she passed away in the hospital, like that fast.
Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So we're dealing with that, and I'm trying to figure out how to contact family, and I'm sitting outside of the park on the side of the road calling people, and I'm like, I'm not going to get anything else accomplished. I'm going to go north.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and where was she living, Pete?
They're in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not like I can go help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even though they're going to have a service out there, and I'm like, I can't get away next week. It's like, it's just not going to happen. You know, if there's something over the weekend, I could sneak away because I could tell my Holyoke I got to go to a family, funeral. But during the week, it's like next week I got Big E 2 days.
Yeah.
We have meetings because it's the third week of the month. I was like, I can't get away. I can't.
It's how we live our life. It's like I do the same thing. Oh, the second week of the month. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a COA board meeting. I've got a friend's board meeting. I've got CBAC over at the hospital. It's so funny how you do that with, first week of the month, second week of the month, first and third week of the month. Oh, we have city council meeting. I mean, it's,
And I feel bad because I'm really close to my cousin Brian, and it's like I can't.
How old was his wife, Pete?
61.
Oh, okay, that's a little scary. Yeah.
Well, and so these are the side effects that you're not getting reported on a daily basis. That I'm getting tested for an enlarged heart.
Mm-hmm.
My Akinyele's tested me, my doctor's tested me for that because the amount of weight that I gained, he said that's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not either you have congestive heart failure, which I don't think so because he listened to my heart and he said sounds pretty strong to me.
Okay.
And my sinus rhythms are fine. So. Yeah. He's like, or you had an enlarged heart due to COVID, and we want to see if it's still swollen or not.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm getting tested for that. I mean, these are legit.
Yep.
A lot of people are going through these, and these are the stuff that's not getting reported. And I don't know. I honestly never asked if they were vaccinated or not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Don't know?
Yep, yep. Wow.
They've been working from home.
Yeah.
Because they both work in the insurance and financial industry, and they've both been working from home for over a year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you don't want to ask that question
because
when it's raw.
It's after the fact. Yeah.
Well, and when it's raw, too.
It's raw. Exactly. You got it, Pete.
He's calling me an hour and a half after it happened because he can't get a hold of anybody else.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, I'll start making phone calls, and that's what I did. For 20 minutes, I was making phone calls.
Well, you've really had a tough weekend and busy and kind of crazy, so I can certainly understand last night. I
did find a nice brewery last night or over the weekend.
Well,
I mean,
good.
While I was down there.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that was good. Little place to kick back a little bit for a few minutes.
Yeah, right down the street from my hotel, which was nice.
Good.
So I was like, all right, some nice things, and saw a few friends while I was down there. So it's nice to have that extended friends group, that you see once in a while, but they're like, just walk right back into things. And
kind of pick up where you left off, even if you haven't seen them for a little while.
Hey, listen, if I had my car and I was bringing my car back, I could have brought back T-shirts, everything we're throwing away in the locker.
Oh yeah.
Bats. You want?
Oh my goodness.
Like presentation bats.
Oh my goodness.
We have 10 boxes of 6 bats.
Wow.
They were all made for the all World Series teams, and they all have the 2020 logo, so they're useless.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't do anything. Wow, amazing.
So I may go down there over the winter with my car. Bring back stuff and then donate it to local teams and stuff.
Well, that's what
I
was thinking.
want to try wood bats.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I thought, it'd be nice to donate them to some of the groups
These
that
are
might be
beautiful.
Oh, that's
beautiful
good.
Presentation bats.
Yeah. Oh man.
And I got tons of T-shirts.
It's funny because I heard a piece on National Public Radio, probably 6 months ago or so, where a lot of the sports stores and shops and even college things and everything, you have to order that a lot of that stuff so far in advance.
Oh yeah, they're already starting. They're already getting stuff lined up for the next one.
Yeah, well,
now
in this case, they were talking about the fact that like they have to order like NFL jerseys and baseball jerseys and stuff so far in advance that sometimes the players are no longer playing with that team, and you've ordered jerseys, with Gronk's name on it, and now he's not a Patriot. He's, and I mean it's that kind of thing. And they said it's in some cases you just don't know. Then you've got this sort of useless stuff.
A lot of times if they're popular players, they get sold. But
yeah.
If they're less popular players, they become collector's items.
Right. So it's weird, though. It's like things that I wouldn't think of because I'm not in that business, but people who are certainly aware.
Last year for the World Series, the lead time, it was so bad that they couldn't get products. So now you're scrambling just to get, like, usually we have hats, really nice hats, in the color of the World Series, and they have, like, visors for the women and stuff like that. The only thing they get were white hats. That's it.
Pete, is there a color that's specific? Do they change the color, or is it the same color?
The color's based on the logo every year.
Okay.
So the logo does, for some World Series, it stays the same. It's the basic Babe Ruth logo, but the softball World Series changes design every year. So, and the other thing that stunk about 2020 is the commissioner's daughter had kind of sketched a logo in 2019 while we were all sitting in the trailer doing games.
Yep.
And that was the logo that they, it was roughed out.
Yeah.
And she had the design, and it was like that logo is really nice. I liked it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, never got seen.
Yeah, never got to use it.
We reused all the softballs this year, so they had the 2020 logo. They weren't paying for another, I don't know, 40, 50 cases of softballs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No.
It's a lot of this behind the scenes stuff that people don't realize or don't think about. I just had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and I can't remember who. There's just a lot that happens behind the scenes everywhere. Everywhere. We were talking about city departments, but and that people just they're not aware of, and they have an opinion on how you should be doing things, but it's businesses and companies and all of that. So much that we're not aware of as the consumer or the viewer.
Well, that's part of the problem.
Whatever.
Either for like a World Series, it's not necessarily about the stuff; it's about the experience.
Yeah.
The stuff just gives you a tangible reminder of the experience.
Yeah.
So all that stuff matters. The details matter.
Yes.
You can't just make a generic bat.
Right.
Because the details do matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people hang those bats and mini gold gloves and stuff on their wall.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
That's something that's more than just a little trophy you get at the end of a season.
Right.
It's like a mini gold glove that's an actual replica of the Major League Gold Glove Award.
Yeah.
Made by the same company.
Yeah. And for those kids, that's they'll be showing that to their grandchildren when they come over to the house.
Right.
Seriously,
Exactly.
Seriously. All right, let's do a famous birthday before we take a break. And I also want to just remind our viewers and our listeners that it is the fourth Wednesday of the month. And this is really funny. So my guest on the fourth Wednesday of the month is always Joe Rouse, Director of Public Health for the
Is he coming here this time?
I believe that he is. I have not heard that he was not. So unless something changes between now and 7 o'clock,
Otherwise, I'm going to give him grief.
He should be coming into the studio. But it was so funny because my husband Gary said to me last night we were getting ready to eat dinner, and Gary goes, so who's your guest tomorrow, Joe Rouse? And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, it is. And Gary said, I was being facetious. He said, I can't believe it's already the end of the month because he knows that's when Joe comes on. Actually, Joe's on the fourth Wednesday. We have 5 Wednesdays in September, so we'll have a different guest next Wednesday. But Gary said when I said, yeah, he is, and Gary goes, you know what? I was being facetious. He said I was kind of being a smart aleck, thinking, it can't be time for Joe Rouse again, right? And I said, well,
Gary,
guess
it's
what?
Big E time. What do you expect?
It is time for Joe Rouse. So anyway, Joe will be joining us a little after 7 in the second hour. Let's do some famous birthdays. So we'll start with this one. It is the birthday of Andrea Bocelli, tenor, who was born on this date in 1958 in Italy. He's 63 years old today. As a child, Andrea Bocelli learned to play the piano, flute, and saxophone. Visually impaired from birth, Bocelli became blind at the age of 12 following a soccer injury. His big break came when a demo tape landed in the hands of Luciano Pavarotti. His 1995 album Bocelli sold well in Europe, and 1990's Sogno became an international hit. With Sogno, Bocelli cemented his status as an international singing sensation. The hit record included a duet with Celine Dion on the song The Prayer. More popular albums soon followed. Bocelli also earned Grammy nods in 1999 for Best New Artist and in 2000 for Sogno, which he earned Best Male Pop Vocal Performance and The Prayer, Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals. On Easter Sunday 2020, which you recall was right after the pandemic hit, with the world still reeling from the coronavirus pandemic, the famed singer live-streamed his Andrea Bocelli Music for Hope concert from the Duomo Cathedral of Milan, Italy. Accompanied by organist Vianelli, Bocelli sang traditional favorites like Ave Maria and Sancta Maria inside the empty cathedral before heading outside to close his mini concert with Amazing Grace. He remains one of the world's most popular singers today. So here's the thing that I did not know about Andrea Bocelli. I didn't know that he was blind.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Really?
Really.
Oh, I knew that.
I think because I've never seen him go on and off a stage. I've only tuned in when he's singing, and I didn't realize that. And a lot of times, a lot of people who are blind wear sunglasses. He
chooses not to.
He sometimes, he does, but even if he does, they're kind of more like tinted glasses, so they're not, and a lot of times he doesn't. So who knew? I had no idea. But anyway, it is his 63rd birthday. So for our first break, we're going to listen to him sing You'll Never Walk Alone. I was going to do The Prayer with Celine Dion, but their version is pretty long. So I thought, you know what? Let's listen to You'll Never Walk Alone. This is by Andrea Bocelli in honor of his 63rd birthday. We'll be back.
Oops.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of our life.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:20. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning, and Harry Rock is up after you today.
I was going to mention that. Thank you for that. And
Gene Thoreau is his guest.
Gene Thoreau is a frequent person over at the Senior Center because
Correct.
Gene works for he's part-time with Veterans Affairs.
Yep.
So
We're going to talk about the monuments restoration.
Good. That's perfect. I know Gene has been super involved in that. He's a wonderful, wonderful man.
And Harry's been working on a documentary about that.
Really?
Oh, I taught Harry how to use a camera, and I turned him loose.
That Harry Rock, he is just amazing.
Now I got to teach him how to edit.
Yeah, that would make your life a lot easier, right, Pete?
Harry, you can come in here whenever you want and edit. He's
going
to sit through an editing session with me because we're going to put this show together together. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully I'll light the fire to teach him how to edit, and he can come in here and edit whenever he wants. But
you know what? When I retire, I want to turn into a Harry Rock. He is just, he's done so much in his retirement, and I think that's
now he's doing stuff that's interesting to him.
That's interesting and fun for him. I mean, he's taken on the Westfield Council on Aging Presents series, and he's doing all those interviews for us, and you've taught him how to use a camera, Pete. I mean, he
taught Ann how to use a camera too.
Yeah. I mean, he's always around when you need an extra volunteer. He's on my friends board. He's just got good ideas, and I think he's one of those people. There are a lot of people who have had a very full professional career, which Harry did. I mean, as executive director of the YMCA and all of his
and then
work
executive
at Springfield
director
College
of the YMCA program at Springfield
College. Yeah, exactly. He was, Mr. YMCA Springfield College. And so for some of those people, it's so hard for them to retire because, they kind of feel lost. And Harry has just, he has this whole other fulfilling, amazing retirement life. And I love that. I admire that. And I'm really taking copious notes because it's one of my fears about retiring someday. It's like when your life is so full and you're doing so many things,
Well, the city of Westfield didn't help with that either.
Yes, with the 350, you mean?
Because he was walking out to retire and he was planning on goofing off for a while. And they said,
not happening.
Could you do this for us? And it's a full-time job for 2 years?
Yeah. Can you just chair the 350th committee, which, it was a full-time job for 2 years. And, it's still, there's still some little remnants.
There's still loose ends,
yes. Yeah, loose ends that he's pulling together. So that's great. So Harry Rock will be here with Rock on Westfield at 8 o'clock when we are finished, and Gene Thoreau will be his guest. So that should be exciting.
And he'll be doing 2 episodes this month because we're also going to the Big E
I knew
tomorrow.
that. Well, all of a sudden it occurred to me, I'm thinking, wait a minute, Harry's doing the Big E. What's going on?
Yeah, 2 episodes this month. We'll
Okay.
be taking the 5th Wednesday as well.
Okay.
We're going to go over the
There's
showers tomorrow and do some Big E.
I know. Well, in between, it doesn't sound like it's going to be like steady pouring rain or anything.
That's
Just
Friday, I
kind of
think.
Showery. Really?
That's Friday, yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Listen, let's do a birthday. It is I thought this one was really cool. I love women who do really neat things, and this lady did some cool stuff. So it is the birthday of the late Ellen Church. She was a nurse and a pilot that was born on this day in 1904 in Cresco, Iowa. She passed away in 1965 at the age of 60. After graduating from Cresco High School, Ellen Church studied nursing and worked in a San Francisco hospital. She was a pilot and a registered nurse. Steve Stimson, the manager of the San Francisco office of Boeing Air Transport, would not hire her as a pilot, because she was a woman, by the way, but did pass along her suggestion to put nurses on board airplanes to calm the public's fear of flying. In 1930, Boeing hired Ellen Church as head stewardess, and that is what they were called back then, stewardess, and she recruited 7 others for a 3-month trial period. The stewardesses, or Sky Girls, as Boeing called them, had to be registered nurses, single, younger than 25 years old. They had to weigh less than 115 pounds, and they had to stand less than 5 feet 4 inches tall. Presumably, I'm thinking because the airplanes were smaller then, and there wasn't as much headroom. In addition to attending to the passengers, the stewardesses were expected to, when necessary, help with hauling luggage, fueling, and assisting pilots to push the aircraft into hangars. However, the salary was good. At that time, it was $125 a month. Church became the first stewardess to fly. On May 15th, 1930, she embarked on a Boeing 80A, that was the flight number, for a 20-hour flight from Oakland, San Francisco to Chicago. So it took 20 hours to go from Oakland to Chicago, but they had 13 stops along the way. There were 14 passengers on the plane. The innovation was a resounding success, with other airlines following Boeing's example over the next few years. But an injury from an automobile accident ended her career after just 18 months. Ellen Church obtained a bachelor's degree in nursing education from the University of Minnesota, and she resumed nursing. During World War II, Ellen Church served in the Army Nurse Corps as a captain and flight nurse and earned an Air Medal. She died in 1965 at the age of 60. She was involved in a horse riding accident, and that ended her life. But happy birthday to the late Ellen Church, first stewardess. That was before we called them flight attendants. But right. I loved those requirements. That they had to be the Sky Girls, as Boeing called them. They had to be single, younger than 25, weigh less than 115, and stand less than 5 feet 4 inches tall.
Right.
So there you go. They would not be able to get away with any of that today, but no. That was back in 1930. So there. Well,
they were counting them as freight almost because they're part of the crew.
Exactly, that was it. It was like, and as that first flight with just 14 passengers, you had to be really careful. I think about.
Make sure you could take off.
Yep, wanted to make sure you could take off. That was it. So happy birthday to the late Ellen Church. Kind of cool. It is also the birthday today of singer, author, actress Debbie Boone. She was born on this day in 1956 in Hackensack, New Jersey, which is not very far from where my youngest brother lives. And she is 65 years old today, so she can apply for Medicare. Debbie Boone is the third of 4 daughters born to singer-actor Pat Boone and Shirley Foley Boone, daughter of country music star Red Foley. So clearly, she was born into a singing family.
Correct.
The 4 sisters first recorded with their parents as they were dubbed as the Pat Boone family, and then later as the Boones, and then later as the Boone Girls. With her older sisters married and younger sister in college, Debbie Boone was actively encouraged by producer Mike Curb to launch a solo career. In 1977, Debbie Boone released her first solo effort, You Light Up My Life, which had been featured in the film of the same name. The song became the biggest hit of the 1970s, lasting 10 consecutive weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, longer than any other song in Hot 100 history to that point. In 2008, Billboard ranked the song number 7 among all songs that charted in the 50-year history of the Hot 100. The song earned Debbie Boone a Grammy Award for Best New Artist and an American Music Award for Favorite Pop Single of 1977. She also received Grammy nominations for Best Pop Vocal Performance, Female, and Record of the Year. The single and the album of the same name were both certified platinum. The song, written and produced by Joe Brooks, was from the film of the same name. Brooks earned Song of the Year awards at both the 1978 Grammys and Oscars for writing the song. Debbie Boone performed the song at both award shows. Throughout her career, Debbie Boone has appeared in several musical theater productions and has co-authored many children's books with her husband Gabriel Farrer. So happy 65th Medicare eligible birthday to Debbie Boone. It is 6:30. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. In honor of the birthday of Ellen Church, the first stewardess for Boeing Airlines back in the 1930s, we're going to listen to John Denver singing Leaving on a Jet Plane. We'll be back.
All my bags are packed, ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, but the dawn is breaking, it's early morn. The taxi's waiting, he's blown his horn. Already I'm so lonesome I could die. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh babe, I hate to go. There's so many times I let you down, so many times I played around, and I tell you now, they don't mean a thing. Every place I go, I'll think of you. Every song I sing, I'll sing for you. When I come back, I'll bring your wedding ring. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh babe, I hate to go. Now the time has come to leave you. One more time, let me kiss you. Close your eyes, I'll be on my way. Dream about the days to come when I won't have to leave alone. About the times I won't have to say. Kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you'll wait for me. Hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh babe, I hate to go. To go.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtSpeed, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So, Pete, what do we have on tap for tonight, meeting-wise? Now,
nothing. I have nothing the rest of the week. I'm shocked.
Really?
Blows my mind. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because it's Big E time.
Oh, maybe. Wow.
Next week's loaded, but
and there's the caveat, you know. Wow.
I even have a
I am surprised.
ZPD meeting that I'm probably going to do on my phone at the Big E because it might just be easier to record it in the cloud and put it right to the server. So, yeah.
Wow, I am.
There's a push from a few counselors to, back to we're going to record every meeting again.
Yeah.
And they kind of threw the mayor under the bus this week in open council, and I almost walked out there and said, you guys do realize that you can record a meeting in those conference rooms right now, right? Lenore installed a conference bar in those rooms, and all you do is fire up a Zoom meeting and hit record, even if you're the only member of the Zoom meeting, and it'll go for 40 minutes, even if you don't have an account. Just saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay.
And I didn't, and I probably should have.
Well, maybe that's just something to send out an email.
I'm going to, and I might buy. There's the program I'm using for the virtual set vMix has a very basic edition where you can just record stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like $60.
Yeah.
And I'll just pay for it. I'll even pay for it on my own damn pocket just to get it installed. Hey, Tech Center, install this on there, and so they can record stuff. Yeah. Because I'm not going to broadcast every single meeting. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I'll never have a time to air programming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's not going to happen. But if they're hell bent on recording stuff, I can make that happen relatively cheap, and I will literally pay for it out of my own pocket just to say, okay,
it's done.
Enough.
There it is.
Because I could go spend thousands and thousands of dollars in equipment to broadcast from there. I'm like, but for the amount of meetings I actually broadcast from there, it's not really worth it. So no, good. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah.
There's technology already to do it there. So
yeah, absolutely. So shoot him an email, just let him know and say, here it is. This is the plan.
I'll calm down a little bit and send it to the mayor, and he can send it up.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
I'll go up my chain of command and have my chain of command send it out. That's how it works.
Exactly.
But
there you go. That's right.
I took personal offense to the shot. Throwing the shot like that when you're being uneducated and being a little bit.
Yeah.
I could use another word, but uneducated. How's that?
That's good. I think
I'll be measured.
That's a good word, Pete. We're on air, so yeah.
Yes, and then obviously it's being recorded, but it's stuck in my craw, as they say.
Well, I think another.
Because I do take pride in my work.
Absolutely, we all do. That was another conversation that I had with this week. I have these conversations, and I can remember
the parallel tracks. Or something?
I can remember the conversations. I can't remember who they were with, but I know they were within the last few days or whatever. But we had that conversation too, where. You've got people who are working really hard. We're not just sitting around doing nothing. We are really, really working.
We might have
hard
5 minutes, or we can go like.
Yeah, exactly. That's about
like yesterday.
Sometimes that is about it. Oh yeah.
Kenny and I were going to go over the Big E because we had to pick up our IDs because we're going to be there a ton. So I arranged for us to get IDs for the whole fair. And so I get a call from Harry. We're about ready to leave. Hey, can you wait like 20 minutes? I got to show you these pictures of the monuments because we're going to use them for Gene tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. So he blows in here and show me all the stuff, and he's got 150 pictures. And I'm like, Harry, you need to whittle that down to like a dozen.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, we're not going to show more than 20 tops.
Well, you know, it was funny because when I did Mass Appeal with Patrick Berry and Alana Flood, was about a month or so ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. Patrick had said to me, send me some photos. So, yeah, I had no idea. I said, well, how many do you want? He said, just send whatever, and then, we'll pull out what we want to use. And that's
and
exactly
you got to shoot
happened.
them like that. You can't shoot them like that.
Yes. So
this is TV.
Right. So I sent, which I do because I sent the ones that I took on my camera, not my phone, but on my camera.
Okay.
So I sent, and I sent pictures from throughout the pandemic and, all kinds of stuff, everything they wanted. But, you're right, Pete. I probably sent him 30 or 40 pictures, and they probably used about a dozen, maybe 10 or 12. And it was a 5-minute segment, so they were, kind of flipping through them as I was talking.
Yep.
But I remember, what they did was they ran the same photos, 2 or 3 times, so that you could, really get a nice view of everything. But
I think there's still over 50 in here.
Yeah.
Look in the folder. I taught Harry how to share pictures in a Google Drive folder. Mm-hmm. I'm like, just delete what you want, and I'll pull the rest out tomorrow.
You've created a monster here, Pete.
That's fine with me. I know what I really need volunteers of all sorts.
Yes.
Not just the high school kids, anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can train you how to run a camera. It's not hard.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm taking notes for my retirement. It'll be like, oh yeah, I could work with Pete. Wouldn't that'd be so fun?
I'll put you to work.
Like, yeah, I could be.
And
like
I also
the
have
female
clearance.
Harry Rock.
I also have clearance to put a camera in the fitness room. I worked at the tech center on that, so I got to get over there to get that done.
Good, we're excited about that. We're super excited about all of that. So thank you so much. And speaking of cameras and fitness room and everything, let's talk a little bit about Channel 15 programming. This was really interesting, Pete.
I want fresh program. That's the thing.
I know, and we will. That'll happen, and I think that's great. But it was interesting. We had forgotten. Terry Summers, who teaches our chair yoga class, had told us weeks ago when we set up the schedule that she was not going to be available yesterday on September 21st.
Okay.
So when I did the schedule, that date was not on there. We have a flyer that we gave out to everybody. It wasn't on there because she had said she wouldn't be available, but we had everything scheduled out. But we had just forgotten about it. So Sandra said, my greeter said to me at a little before 1:30, she said, it's kind of surprising that the chair yoga people aren't coming in yet because they usually start coming in 15 minutes early or so. And she said, nobody's here yet. And shortly after she said that, somebody came in. And and so Sandra said to me, but what's even weirder is that Terry's not here yet. She's usually here at least 10 minutes early. So Sandra said, do we not have chair yoga today? So I said, you know what? I don't know. Let me check. Because she said, she looked and she said, it's not on the schedule. And Sandra said, I don't know, was that an accident or a mistake or on purpose? So I said, let me go back and check my notes. Check my notes. Sure enough, I have a sticky, Terry will not be here on, these are her blackout dates, a couple dates that she had. So I said, no, that was not a mistake. She's not going to be here today. I said, Mary Lou and I forgot. Sandra forgot. Everybody kind of forgot.
Yep.
Most of her class remembered, but we did have some people that came in. And I said to Sandra, and they were really disappointed. It's like, oh, I've been really good with my chair yoga. I said to Sandra, look at your schedule for Channel 15. Sure enough, yesterday, chair yoga was offered or whenever it was going to be offered. And so we sent them home with, you can do this on Channel 15. Actually, there was a chair yoga on Tuesday because it was at 2:00. And then after that, we do the Council on Aging Presents.
Yep.
So we sent them home to go do their chair yoga on Channel 15. They were so happy, Pete. They were like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Because I've been doing it at the center now, not doing it on Channel 15, but it's still offered on Channel 15. So we sent them home. Go do your chair yoga at home. So all good. So yes, but for those of you who are listening, Pete came over to the senior center last week and checked out our fitness room and is going to be setting up a camera in there so that we can do some new programming, live, like with people.
It's going to be more
able
of a
to broadcast on Channel 15.
corner shot, I guess, because
Yeah.
we got to put it in that corner. So,
yeah. But we'll figure it out. All good, all good. So for our entertainment this month and next month, we have Brad Shepard and his talented daughter Meryl, and they're doing show tunes. We're calling this It's Showtime. So all Broadway tunes and hits. And those that concert is aired Wednesdays at 2:40, so it'll be this afternoon. And then Saturdays at 6 p.m. So we're going to be running that for September and October. Then we're going to have different entertainment in November, but that's a surprise. You'll really be excited about it, but stay tuned for that. And then next Tuesday is the last airing on Channel 15 of Addictions Across the Generations by Kathy Catuno. She was interviewed by Harry Rock for the Council on Aging Presents series. And Kathy is she is the coordinator for CORE in Westfield. And don't ask me what CORE stands for because I don't remember. Oh, I can tell you. It's Outreach Recovery. No, it's Coalition for Outreach, Recovery, and Education.
Right.
And so Kathy explored what happens with families when you have someone with addictive issues. And, of course, in my world, what we find is a lot of grandparents having to raise or help to raise their grandchildren if their own children are having issues with addiction. So that's one problem. But Kathy also is seeing more older adults who also have been, had
helping
surgery,
their kids, things like that too.
Yep, helping their children, but also having some issues of their own with possibly having been put on pain medications following a surgery, and that gets, sort of blown out of proportion. And also, as Kathy said, you have a greater chance when somebody is older that they're already on other prescription medications and over-the-counter medications for comorbidities, other issues and illnesses and chronic illnesses that they have. So you mix in then, some of the pain medications, and you can end up with a mess very quickly. So anyway, that program, the final airing for that on Channel 15 will be next Tuesday at 2:45. And Pete, is that one bundled on YouTube? Is the Addictions Across the Generation also on the...
Should be, yeah.
I would think, because I know usually you put those on there. So the YouTube one is, you'll be able to see that at any time. So thanks to Pete for that. It is 6:46, and you're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. In honor of her 65th birthday, we're going to listen to Debbie Boone telling us that we light up her life. So this is You Light Up My Life. We'll be back.
So many nights I'd sit by my window, waiting for someone to sing me his song. So many dreams I kept deep inside me, alone in the dark, but now you've come along, and you light up my life. You give me hope to carry on. You light up my days and fill my nights with song. Rolling at sea, adrift on the water. Could it be finally I'm turning for home? Finally a chance to say, hey, I love you. Never again to be all alone. 'Cause you light up my life. You give me hope to carry on.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning. I caught up with Joe Didi yesterday over at the Big E.
And
at location number 2.
How is Joe? I know Joe has two things going on over there.
He's almost at the corner.
Where is he?
He's almost at the corner of the Avenue Estates, right outside of the amusement park.
Okay.
Along that back row there, just before the turn.
Yep.
But almost by the Big E Arena, so he's got a good spot.
So that's one spot, right? But he has another spot too.
The original, that's the second spot. That used to be Rondo's Dairy Bar out of Palmer would do that one.
Yep.
But they backed out this year.
Right,
His other spot has always traditionally been on the corner, right by the giant slide, the Big E slide.
Okay. That's a good spot.
Right on that corner by the Budweiser beer garden and stuff like that. Right in that corner there.
Yep. So
the
how is he doing having?
It's tough. He said,
everybody's so scrambling for employees.
Well, he told me, he goes,
for staff.
He goes, Pete, I really don't have the staff for that either.
That's the problem.
He said, but they're not going to ask you again.
Yeah, right.
He said, if you don't take advantage of it now, they're never going to ask you again. They'll find someone to fill, and that'll be theirs forever. So,
yeah.
I did hear, I haven't been in the Better Living Center, but a lot of vendors decided not to come this year. They decided to take the year off.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of areas inside the Better Living Center that are empty space.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Some people wearing their masks if they choose to outside. People wearing them inside, being respectful.
Yep.
I took Kenny to. Kenny's been helping me for so much for free. I took him to lunch at the Storrington Tavern because I didn't want to eat fair food yesterday.
Yeah.
So I took him to lunch over there. We had a nice lunch.
Nice.
Nice.
Good.
I try to be good to Kenny because I'm really using him a lot. I feel bad about it.
I know. And thank you to Kenny for lining up. Has he announced, or has anybody announced what's going on in October? Are we allowed to talk about that with
what do you mean?
The interviews? The candidate interviews?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
People are signing up.
Okay, yes, I know they are signing up. I didn't know if Kenny had mentioned it or not. So Kenny and I guess I kind of do the overflow, but we'll be interviewing the candidates.
You got the last day again because you're a Wednesday and he's a Tuesday.
Yeah, I know. That's funny. So we'll be interviewing the candidates running for city councilor. And now, what are they doing with the mayoral thing? We're just doing city councilors, but do we know what's going on yet?
Taxpayers Association is trying to pull something together.
Okay.
But they kind of got a really late start, so we'll see.
Okay. But Ken and I, there's only one race where you have candidates, and that's for Ward 1, I believe, right? Nick Morganelli is running against, I don't know who he's running against.
Mary Beth Berrien.
Thank you. And so, but I really agree with Ken. I think this is a great format for each of the city councilors, even if they're running unopposed, to be able to come and talk about, kind of what's important to them, what they stand for, what they've been supporting over the last couple of years, what they hope to accomplish over the next couple of years. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think that'll be great. So we'll be doing that the first 2 weeks in October. Am I right about that, Pete?
Yes.
I believe so.
Tuesday, September 28th, and then Kenny's
Okay.
gone, or I'm gone.
Okay.
Or, he's gone. And then Wednesday, October 6th, October 12th, and October 13th.
Okay. So are you guys gone on... okay. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Got it. I'm getting... My dates are like swimming in my head. October 1st is a Friday.
Yeah, October 12th might be an issue, too, because I'm not going to be back by then. But, somebody else can do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, well...
I'll have Steve Forney cover that one.
We'll figure it out. Okay, but anyway, that's going to be coming up, so you have those opportunities. All right, let's do a few more birthdays. It is the birthday today of singer, songwriter, producer Joan Jett. She was born on this day in 1958 in Philadelphia. She's 63 years old today. Joan Jett started her musical career as a teenager, forming her first serious band, The Runaways. The final lineup included Joan Jett on guitar and vocals, Sandy West on drums, Sherry Curie on lead vocals, Jackie Fox on bass guitar, and Lita Ford on guitar. The band was ahead of its time in many ways, with its hard rock sound emerging during an era when disco music was king. They also felt dismissed by audiences and critics because of their young age and their gender. The public didn't seem to know what to do with 5 girls who sang about sex, rebelling, and partying.
That's rock and roll.
And there it is. The musicians' fashion choices also alienated them from mainstream fans. Curie chose to wear lingerie on stage, and Jett often appeared in her trademark red leather jumpsuit. The Runaways broke up in 1979, and Joan Jett pursued a solo career.
Crepes, Lita Ford had a good solo career, too.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Okay. Joan Jett went on to become one of the most influential women in rock, recording hits like I Love Rock and Roll and founding Black Heart Records. So happy 63rd birthday to Joan Jett. It is also the birthday, I thought this one was kind of cool. It is also the birthday of the late Alan Rocky Lane. He was born on this day in 1909 in Mishawaka, Indiana. That sounds
easy for you to say.
It sounds very Native American to me. He died at the age of 64 in 1973. So Alan Lane played varsity sports, baseball, football, and basketball at the University of Notre Dame, but dropped out in order to pursue his interest in acting. He appeared in more than 125 films and TV shows in a career lasting from 1929 to 1966. In 1946 and 47, he portrayed Red Ryder in 7 films, replacing Wild Bill Elliott in that role. Between 1940 and 1966, Rocky Lane made 82 film and television series appearances, mostly in westerns. He made over 30 B-movie westerns as Rocky Lane with his faithful horse, Blackjack. His last roles were in voice-over acting, including providing the speech for Mr. Ed. Remember Mr. Ed, the talking horse? That was from 1961 to 1966. He was never credited on screen for providing the voice for Mr. Ed. So we are talking about it today so that he gets credit for that.
Sure.
In 2003, Alan Rocky Lane won the TV Land Award posthumously for the category Favorite Pet Human Relationship as Mr. Ed. He was Mr. Ed. I loved that show, Wilbur and Mr. Ed. That was like that. I was a kid in the 1960s, so that was very cool to me. All right. Before we take our break, I need to do a shout out. So I want to do a shout out and thank the Westfield Police Department for their help and support in collaborating with us on this year's Cops for a Cause Chili Luncheon, which was held a week ago. It was very successful. We had about 150 people come through. I was bucking for 200, but we did fine. We had 150 people come through. Thank you to our senior safety officer, Mark Carbonneau, who cooked up the chili, and Mark also was handing out, we had little gifts of hand sanitizer and Kleenex that were in purple bags. That's the color of Alzheimer's awareness. So Mark was out there doing that. And, you know, he just said he really got so many compliments, and people were so appreciative.
It was good chili.
It was excellent chili, and people were really so appreciative of all the work. You know, Mark said he just heard a lot of nice things about the police department, about the senior center staff. And thank you to Chief Valier. We had 7 police officers or members of the police department. Anna was there, and I think she's a support staff. But
she's head of the records department.
Okay, well, she was handing out gifts with Mark, so that was great. Eric Hall was there. Captain Petoniak was there. Johnny Blazchak was there.
Community police unit.
Yep. Steve Dickinson. Yep. Pretty much the community police. I don't know. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I feel like I'm missing one person. No, I think that was it. So thank you to them. We're still counting the money, and I have not sent the check into the Alzheimer's Association yet because we do have people that are still sending donations in. So if you want to do that, you can. If you want to send in a check, you can make it out to the Alzheimer's Association, but you can send it to me at the Senior Center, which is at 45 Noble Street, or you can drop it in the drop box. I'm going to wait about another week or so before I do a final tally and send that in. And congratulations to Pat Hall. She was our 50-50 winner. We did the 50-50 raffle during the program and or during the event, and we collected the. And thank you to my 50-50 raffle people. We had Mary Kohut, our clerk, was working on that. Kathy Millis, who's the treasurer and clerk for the Friends group, who was our volunteer extraordinaire right next to Barbara Martone, who was also the third person working on the 50-50 raffle, collecting money, doing tickets, tearing up tickets, doing all that. We collected $500 for the 50-50. So the winner got $250. Couldn't have gone to a better person. Pat Hall has been attending senior center programs for years. She's helped out with bingo. And has been touched by a family member with who she lost to Alzheimer's. So it was really fitting and appropriate that she won the $250. So thank you again to the Westfield Police Department. It is 7:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses on WCPC Cable Channel 15. As a reminder, before we take this top of the hour break, Joe Rouse will be my guest second hour. Joe is the Director of Public Health, so of course we'll be doing an update on everything COVID and other things that are going on in the health department. We will be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m. Go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:05. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
I see all kinds of cars coming in here, like suddenly.
Yeah, teachers are coming in.
Teachers and, yeah. A reminder that at the Senior Center this Friday, which is the day after tomorrow from 9 to 10:30, we will be holding our side-by-side support group. We started the group up again last month. This is a support group. It's a very eclectic group. People have asked me, I facilitate this group, and people have asked me, well, you know, who is it appropriate for? It's a very mixed bag. We have seniors who are dealing with their own health issues. They may be dealing with caregiver issues. They may be dealing with some grief issues. Possibly they've lost, we've had people who have lost, usually it's spouses, sometimes, you know, close friends. Or siblings, that as well. So it's, you know, this is a very much of an eclectic mix, but sometimes, you know, it's just helpful to sit down with a group and everything is confidential. We close the door, whatever is said in the support group stays in the support group. So we welcome newcomers. We have some of our folks that have returned from pre-COVID and are happy to be back. And we had last month we had someone who was new, who was really struggling during COVID with some caregiving issues. So we welcome you to come. If you'd like more information about the group and you're not sure if it's for you, give me a call. Call me at the Senior Center at 562-6435. We can talk it through. Some people come the first time and they don't say anything. They just kind of listen to, you know, sort of how things are done, but it's very informal. We kind of go around the table, you know, and someone will often throw out something that they're dealing with, and others will offer their advice, guidance, support. Maybe they've been through a similar situation. So it's a really nice group. It is co-ed. Both men and women are welcome, and we have had both. Some people come every month, you know, and have been coming for a few years or even several years. And some people come just when they're going through a difficult time, and, you know, they might join us for 3 or 4 or 5, maybe a year, and then say, okay, you know, I'm doing okay now, and I'm moving on to other things. And all of that is fine. Even if it's just a 1 or 2 shot deal, you're welcome to join us. So that's the side-by-side group. We meet on the 4th Friday of the month, so we will be meeting this Friday, and our time is from 9 to 10:30 in the morning. Today is September 22nd, and Pete, it is the autumn equinox today.
Okay.
An equinox marks the exact moment when the sun enters an imaginary line in the sky. It's a line the sun crosses only 2 times a year on the spring and autumn equinoxes. As a result of that solar angle, every region of our planet will experience close to 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. The fall equinox arrives today at 3:20 p.m. in the Northern Hemisphere, and the equinox occurs at the same moment worldwide. The equinox is important for the agricultural industry, gardeners, and homeowners because it is directly related to the changes in the seasons of the year. Many cultures have celebrated the autumnal equinox as a harvest time for their agricultural endeavors. The day marks the end of summer and the beginning of fall in the Northern Hemisphere. While the United States marks the official end of summer at Labor Day, the seasons mark time differently. So, you know, a lot of people said after Labor Day, okay, now we're into fall. Well,
Right.
technically not, but as of 3:20 today.
Meteorological.
Meteorological, exactly. Depending on where we live, the trees and animals behave differently based on the amount of sunlight they receive. By the time the equinox arrives in September, the leaves in many parts of the country have already begun to change. The air at night is crisper. We're starting to see that a little bit at night.
I don't know. It's been pretty hot around here.
It's been warm, but we've had...
Today's the first day of spring in Australia.
Yeah, exactly, because they're exactly halfway around the world. They're on the opposite.
They're in the southern...
flipping, right.
Yeah, they're the southern. We're the northern.
Right. So people's minds begin to think about warmer clothes and preparing their homes for winter. This is a good time to think about preparing your home for winter. Don't wait until, you're ready to turn on the heat before you decide you better have the furnace cleaned. Since children are already in school, most summer activities have ended. In the fields, farmers eagerly watch for the opportune time to harvest. Apples, pumpkins, and root vegetables ripen in the orchards and gardens. On cool evenings, long walks along the trails under the canopies of gold, umber, violet, and crimson keep us warm. I don't know, Pete, do you know, have any of the leaves started changing up in like the Vermont, New Hampshire area yet, or is it still a little early
It's
for
a little
that?
early, usually towards the end of September.
Yeah, we should see that next week, the following week maybe.
Up towards maybe Newfoundland. Maybe it's starting
Yeah.
to change up there, a little
Yeah.
bit northern.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of cruise lines trying to get smaller cruises and stuff like that, just
Mm-hmm.
get people on board ships. I see more cruise lines offering New England and Nova Scotia cruises this year. Like even
Interesting.
Carnival, I think, has got one.
Interesting.
Like 4 and 7 day cruises to do leaf peeping off the coast.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I don't know, I've heard different things about, because we had such a wet summer and it was kind of on the warmer side. I've heard different things about the leaves will be, it'll be a shorter season. It'll be a longer season.
Depends on how dry it
you
gets
know, it's
now,
just
I
like-
think.
Yeah.
And it doesn't depend on the growing season. It depends on, because there's a lot of leaves.
Yeah. Yes.
trees are very, very full
they're
this year.
full. They're super full.
So I think it depends on actual when we change seasons, how the nights and get cold and things like that. So
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
and if it's super rainy during this season, it's going to be a very short season
Yeah.
because as soon as the leaves die, the rain will knock them off.
Well, and you know what? It was interesting. When Gary was going to chiropractic school, we were living in Davenport, Iowa, and that their fall, they have a long summer and a long winter. So it's super hot and humid, and then you've got these freezing cold. They didn't get a lot of snow, but it was freezing cold, coldest I've ever been in the winter. Their spring and fall is really short, and their fall tended to be really rainy. And it's just as you said, Pete, like the rain would come, the leaves would all get knocked off. So that the leaves changed. I mean, they turned colors, and the whole thing lasted about a week, because then the rains would come in, knock everything down, and it's like, okay, and now we're starting winter in Iowa. So
Right.
hopefully we won't be doing that. And of course, as we talk about the equinox and fall coming, in my world, that means Medicare open enrollment time is right around the corner. So Karen Noblet, our senior benefits coordinator, is getting ready for that. So just a couple of little reminders about that, because Medicare open enrollment, it's always the same dates. It starts on October 15th. Doesn't matter whether that's a weekend or not, but it starts on October 15th and ends on December 7th, I believe is the ending date. So this is an opportunity for you to change your prescription drug plans. That's your open enrollment opportunity. Everyone by the 30th of September, which is coming up next week, by that time, the current insurance that you have, whatever your insurance is for your medications now, they should have sent you an annual, it's called an ANOC, an annual notice of change. And the annual notice of change is they give you a list of the medications that they are going to cover next calendar year, which is starting in January 2022. It's very important because a lot of people, a lot of seniors get stuck here. What they do is they say, oh, I love my Part D insurance. It's great. It's covering everything and I don't want to change. So I'm not going to do anything. Because if you don't do anything, that's fine. You'll stay right in the same plan. The problem is you need to look at the list they send you, because what they're covering this year, they may not be covering the same things next year. So you want to look at what medications are you taking, and that's why Karen, when she consults with people, the first thing she says to them is write down all the medications that you're taking so that we can check and make sure if you like your plan now, are all these going to be covered again? Sometimes they change and they say, yeah, you know what? We're not going to cover metformin anymore. We're going to cover something else instead. And so you know it might be to your advantage to switch to another plan, because otherwise you're going to be paying out of pocket for those medications. So that's what that's all about. It's a busy time of year. Karen is once again going to be doing this through telephone consultations. And you know, it's interesting because originally last year she was not sure how that was going to go. We really didn't have a choice last year. But honestly, she found it went so much smoother and so much faster than bringing people into her office, which was just a lot more time consuming, and she couldn't help as many people doing it on the phone. She was banging them out. She was helping a lot more people because she's on her computer doing what she needs to do.
Right.
You're just feeding her the information. You're answering her questions over the phone. So it's really easy. But you do have to schedule an appointment for that because each consultation takes, a certain amount of time, whatever she's leaving, half hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is.
Yep.
So it's a little, I believe that she wanted to wait until after we got everything set for the flu clinics, because those are coming up in early October. And Karen's been instrumental in helping us with all the paperwork on that. So I think she wanted to wait till that was done before she started taking appointments and starting to schedule her appointments. So I think it's after October 1st, she'll be scheduling appointments for Medicare open enrollment. So you can give Karen a call. Do not show up on our doorstep. She just give us a call.
Right.
We call everybody back. It might be at the end of the day, okay? but also be on the lookout for that annual notice of change from your insurance company. Don't accidentally throw it out, thinking it's junk mail. And also, if you don't get it, they are mandated by law to send you that by September 30th. So if you haven't gotten it by the end of the month, call your insurance company and say, hey, I didn't get this. You were supposed to send it to me. I need this before I can make plans on what I'm doing. Okay? All right. I don't see my guest. Do you see my guest? Is he here? We haven't seen anything, right? I'm going to text him. Okay. All right. Let me text him and make sure everything's okay. We're going to assume that he's on his way. And hopefully, because we're going to bring him in with his song. So, Rouse, hopefully you're on your way. We're going to listen to his theme song, which is Good to Be Alive, Hallelujah by Andy Grammer. We'll be back.
Show just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true. Yeah, I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now. About now. Good, 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 good.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:21. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles.
Good morning.
Minus my guest, who...
He's on the phone.
Oh, he is on the phone.
He just popped. I looked up and there
good.
He was.
Okay, I wasn't
I
sure.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Logistically, it was having trouble getting there, but I did make it on the phone at least, so good morning.
That's okay, Joe. We will absolutely take you over the phone. There are so many things going on in the health department these days that I thought, oh boy, something came up. He's dealing with a crisis. He's not going to be able to join us. So we're thrilled to have you on the phone. We'll take it. That's fine.
Great.
So welcome. So my guest this morning is Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield, Joe Rouse, who joins us on the phone. So how are things going in your world today, this hour, this minute?
But because of the fact that I couldn't physically get there, it's a little crazy right now.
Okay.
Usually right on time, things start to hit the fan at about 7 o'clock in the morning. So,
understood.
But it's funny now because our numbers are actually going down this week for I think the third week in a row.
Okay.
And a lot of cases in some of the kids are resolving that were still lingering from a few weeks ago.
Okay.
But it's looking better on paper.
Yeah.
But you would never be able to tell that from the dynamics of the day-to-day because it's still just as demanding for us anyway. But at least for the community, it's looking like we're on the downside, and hopefully that'll continue, and we can get down to zero sometime. I hope.
Yeah.
But
some point.
Vaccination rates are still bad too.
Okay. All right. So where would you like to start here, Joe?
Well, first thing I wanted to say is that on this Friday from 10 to 6, there's going to be, or 10 to 5, sorry, there's going to be a mobile testing unit down in the parking lot of the Westwood.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to get tested, they can go down there. It's free. And I'm hoping that they're going to be a regular presence because, believe it or not, getting tested right now is not as easy as you think it is.
Yes.
Isn't that insane, Joe, that the fact that we had so much testing early on, you would think they'd keep, because this is not going away. It's never really going to go away at all.
Yeah.
You'd think they keep the testing numbers out, but it seems like, from what I've been hearing, is other countries have plenty of testing, and somehow we let it lapse.
Yeah, so what's happening now is that when people are symptomatic and they want to go to their doctor or to the urgent care, those two places are directing them to go to the ER. And mostly because they don't want them in their facility if they're symptomatic and could possibly have COVID. So that's what I've heard. That's why the ER Bay State Noble was getting overrun when our numbers were a little bit higher, because people were showing up there to get tested for COVID, and then yeah. So anyway, testing is an issue. We want more of that, just like we want more vaccination sites, because that's still hit or miss on a walk-in basis. So I think I said last time, it's just better when you want to get vaccinated to just call ahead. Don't assume you can just walk in.
Right. So make an appointment. call ahead and
Yep.
and find out when is a good time to go in. So Joe, if somebody wants to get tested right now, where can they get? Holyoke Community College is still doing testing, my understanding. Yes.
I don't know.
Okay. They were a few weeks
I'm
ago, and I mean, they have
Okay.
their schedule was very set. I know my daughter needed to get tested a couple of weeks ago. She ended up going to the Med Express, I think, whatever the one is on East Main Street in Westfield.
Yep.
And only because that was the fastest appointment that she could get. And if she could have gone to Holyoke Community, she would have had to wait till the afternoon. But by doing it over here at Med Express, she was able to do it in the morning. But yeah, even then she had an hour and a half wait, and it was more of a precautionary thing. But still, yeah, it's a little dicey right now. I can understand the physician's offices too. It's like, okay, you're trying to treat people. You don't really want people walking in with COVID, and it's kind of a mess, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's why at Trinity Health they had only one facility of theirs where they did testing exclusively,
Yes.
and that was the one in Westfield.
That was the one in Westfield,
so
yeah.
Yep. And so the other ones like Agawam, Chicopee, those were still open
Yes.
for regular things, but not for any COVID testing or.
Right, or anybody with COVID symptoms, because I can remember early in
Right.
the pandemic, Gary had COVID symptoms. It turned out that he had pneumonia, but they kept sending him over to Westfield, and he had all of his tests done over there, and blood work and everything. So anything I forget what they called it, but anything respiratory related, they were sending everybody over to Westfield. And
All right, so both of you, I just did a quick Google search
Okay.
on mass.gov.
Yes.
And the sites listed for testing for Westfield are the Med Express, which Joe just talked about,
Yep.
Holyoke Medical Group Walk-In at 140 Southampton Road, Walgreens East Silver Street,
Okay.
Bay State Court Street Testing Center, which I would assume is the hospital.
The hospital, I would think.
Right. And then outside in Southwick, CVS College Highway, CVS West Springfield on Riverdale Street, and AFC Urgent Care on Union Street. So there's a whole thing that they list.
Okay.
You can search by your zip code, and it gives you distance, and there's a ton of them. So you can find them. You just have to go. Don't expect the public health director to tell you where to go. Just go
Right.
look yourself.
Well, and I think the other thing too, Pete, is once you find them, I would call just to make sure that
Yeah, you
I
can
don't
get
know how
something
I don't know
appointed,
how and I don't know how often they're updating the website.
Right. It gives
just
you it gives you location, phone number, and hours of operation. So
Okay.
you can find this information on your own. You don't have to wait for us to tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
You can go look. It took me 45 seconds.
Right. And if you're an older adult who is not computer savvy, your grandkids can look it up for you.
Right, or you can call for help if that's
Yes,
the
you
case.
can
But I
call,
mean,
yeah.
almost anybody can go look on their phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
test.
I think that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry. The good thing about the testing mobile testing site at Westwood, and we picked that location specifically because of the visibility, so that at least it's not something. If someone's just not inclined to do what Pete just did for whatever reason, which I would ask them to do that, but you're going to drive right by and see it there.
Yes.
So you know what? If you really have a question, it'll take 2 minutes. You can just pull in and then go about your business. So I think just to have that visibility of, oh, there's one. I don't have to, try and figure this out. So I think it'll be good.
And Joe, can you just kind of explain, because I know people who have been tested, sometimes they get the results right away. Sometimes it's 48 hours. Sometimes, what are the differences between all of these testing, mechanisms?
Yeah. So there's a home rapid test that you can actually buy and then do it yourself. I don't recommend that because the results of that test can't be used for any purpose other than, and they have a lot of false negatives and false positives.
Yeah.
Not
really helpful there.
Standard, not helpful, and I don't really know.
Okay.
They got to work on that to make it better. But the standard test is the PCR test, that takes a couple days to get the results on.
Okay.
So I would say that That's what most of the testing facilities use. There's another one that's a rapid test. That's results come back very quickly. It's an antigen test, but that also has been seen to produce some not as accurate as the PCR test. That's the gold standard.
And Joe, let me ask you this. For someone who, because I know there's a time factor here. So if someone, let's say somebody, went to an event, there were a lot of people there, and they're just doing this as a precaution. They don't have any symptoms or anything. Isn't there a certain time you want to wait? Like if they went to the event on Saturday, you don't want to get tested on Saturday night or Sunday, right? Do you want to wait a few days? How does that work?
Yeah, you want to wait a few days.
Okay.
Unless you become symptomatic.
Yes.
And
Different
so
story. Yeah.
I think last I heard it was 5 days.
Okay.
And that keeps changing too. So,
yeah. Okay.
Deborah, our nurse, and I just had to sit down last night and go into a different database for the state just to check on updates because they changed a lot of things yesterday. But anyway, 5 days is, from when you think you might have had exposure from someone who was contagious.
Okay.
So that contagious period. And then, after that. But again, if you're symptomatic before that, just get tested.
Okay. And I think, Joe, you really brought up a good point. We're going to go to break in just a minute. But I think the whole piece of, you and Deb Mulvanna over at the health department, the nurse there, things have changed and you're getting updated and so forth. And I know this has been frustrating for people who keep saying, well, they keep changing things. Well, yes, because the changes are based on the latest data, the latest science, what we know now versus what we knew, 18 months ago or 6 months ago or even 1 month ago. So I think it's just important to remind our viewers and our listeners that it's not because, we want to make your life miserable and, oops, do this. Oh, no, don't do that anymore. Do this. I think it's more of we're learning as we go. The scientists are learning and the researchers are learning. And as they're learning and getting more accurate information, they're disseminating that to, CDC and the health departments and so forth. And you're getting it out to us, right?
Yeah, and the good thing is, even though it's different and it's not what people are used to for the last 18 months or whatever, it's actually being less restrictive now. So I know that, with the Delta variant, everybody was nervous because of the being more contagious, but all these changes that I'm seeing aren't making things worse for people. They're trying to make things better.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll sit well, but we can talk about that too.
Okay. All right. Let's take a little break. So Joe and I have a staff member who got married over the weekend, Alex Hibbert, our building maintenance craftsman, who, had the audacity to ask for some time off so that he can go and get married. And so Alex works for me, and Alex's brother actually works for Joe in the health department. So I thought we should really honor Alex and his new bride, Alyssa, on the occasion of their marriage. So they married on Saturday, September 18th. So I thought I would play Marry You by Bruno Mars. And this one's going out for Alex Hibbert and his lovely new bride, Alyssa. We'll be back.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I want to marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I want to marry you. Well, I know this little chapel on the boulevard we can go. No one will know. Oh, come on, girl. Who cares if we're trash? Got a pocket full of cash we can blow. Shots of Patrol, and it's on, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, something to do. Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It's 7:38. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Harry Rock just walked in the door, so his show will be following mine at 8 o'clock. Yes.
He's just swinging his arm.
He's just swinging his arm. And we have Joe Rouse on the phone. Joe is the Director of Public Health for the City of Westfield. Welcome again, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we are talking, as always, all things COVID update. Where would you like to go from here, my friend?
Well, one of the things that you just mentioned before the break was how all of the guidelines seem to be changing rapidly, and that's frustrating people. And believe me, I feel your pain because it frustrates us, and we want to disseminate good, real, accurate information, and that's getting harder and harder to do. But, a lot of lessons learned, a lot of backing off on some of the guidelines that we thought before were effective that turn out to not be so much. So one of them is that we had, and I'll just give you a quick example. We had an incident that late yesterday that flowed into this morning about a youth sports team where there was a positive case, and everybody was worried that there was tons of exposure for all the, parents were calling saying, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to send my kid to school, or what's going on? I don't. Now, previously, we had even advocated for mask requirements in even outdoor sports, especially for ones like football, where you're getting really close together and you're right in each other's face a lot of time. But this time around, and we had to double back on this and make sure you're not considered a close contact if it's outside, unless it's something like you're kissing each other or you're sharing drinks or something like that. So it actually turned out that even though I think, we're all so used to saying, oh my gosh, if you were that close to somebody, that you were definitely be considered a close contact, and that's not the way it is right now. The other thing too is that if you're fully vaccinated, and this is why people really who haven't been should consider getting vaccinated, it does you a world of good when you have an exposure to a confirmed case. So before, we had all these questions in contact tracing about, okay, have you been within 6 feet with somebody for 15 minutes or more, regardless if you were wearing a mask, that didn't matter. And if so, then you were considered a close contact and you had to quarantine. So you couldn't go to work, you couldn't go to school. At that time, it was up to 14 days.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Which the quarantine and isolation period now has been shortened as well, so that's another one of the changes. But this time around, if you're fully vaccinated, even if you are in that situation where you would have before been considered a close contact, you do not have to quarantine unless you become symptomatic. So you could be with someone who just 2 days ago who just today got diagnosed with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine unless you become symptomatic. So that's a big deal.
So, but you could be a carrier, right? Or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you could
All
be.
right.
Now, remember, the vaccine's not a cure for
Right,
COVID.
exactly.
It's preventative.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but you still
Yeah.
wouldn't quarantine. So even if you could, so you could be a carrier and exposing others if you're not quarantined. That's what I don't understand.
Well, Tina, that segues perfectly into the next thing that everybody should be doing is wearing masks when you're in a public place.
Thank you.
Because you're right. You don't know
Okay.
if you're a carrier. I could be a carrier right now and not
Sure.
even know if I had been exposed to anybody.
Sure.
So definitely, now we can have that discussion because, and I know we talked about it before about the barrier and how that's obviously effective in preventing transmission.
Yes.
So that it's frustrating right now only because somebody decided to start a car. What the nerve? Anyway, so a lot of businesses now are starting to mandate the mask thing, and I know at Big Y in particular, they have a mask mandate for all their employees, which is nice because obviously they're trying to be responsible and prevent any more of a community spread situation.
Yeah.
So that there's some communities that have done mask mandates overall. Now that has to come from their Board of Health because we're not in that state of emergency anymore. So not even the governor can do it unless we go back to that, and nobody wants to do that because there's a lot of economic impact to that sort of a situation.
Right.
So we're trying to really rely on people to just do the right thing and listen to the science and listen to the paid professionals. And what I would say to that is we've been through this all before. And kind of to Pete's point before, why do you have to wait for somebody to tell you to do something when you know what the right thing to do is? And it's back to the same old principles. It's the wear masks when you can, when you're in public around lots of people. Still social or physical distance, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I was in the hall the other day at City Hall talking to somebody, and I kept backing up because they just wanted to get closer and closer.
Yeah.
So we know that works, right? We know a lot of things with the physical distancing, the avoiding the gatherings is another thing, the indoor gatherings. If you don't have to if you don't have to go to the casino, then don't go to the casino.
Right.
But things like that. And so all of these control measures worked the first time around, and we saw our numbers plummet. And we can do that again. It's just that everybody's got to get on the same page, and nobody wants the government to be telling you what to do with your own, personal behaviors.
Yes.
So people need to step up and get vaccinated, physical distance, avoid gatherings, wear masks, all the stuff we did before that worked.
And Joe, what about today is the autumnal equinox, so we are heading out of summer into fall. We know in New England that means more, indoor as opposed to, sitting outside to go to a restaurant or whatever. And so are there still concerns about, for our area, at least as we bring more inside and we turn the heating systems on and so forth, that, of course, last year we were concerned about that, saw the numbers climb, or is that the concern again as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting that we're in a cycle right now that's been happening all along, and it's been just this bell curve over and over again. And in certain points of the year, the bell curve gets higher, and we saw that happen last winter, and especially with the holidays.
Yep.
And the gatherings associated with that. So what concerns me right now is and this is where, and for anybody that follows the metrics, is where it just, you feel like you're beating your head against the wall, because just as you start to see things subside and resolve and the numbers go down, something happens and they go back up again. And then we're up to possibly even a higher bell curve than we were the one before. And that's the concern for the close quarters in the winter and, the indoor gatherings. And unless we start to see our vaccination rate go up significantly, we're going to be right back in it again like we were last year at the same time.
I feel like we're beating that drum again of, it all keeps circling back to, among all of the other things, the physical distancing, the mask, the hand washing, the, hand sanitizers, just being clean in general. We're trying to sanitize and disinfect and so forth in between. I feel like at the senior center, that's best practice, COVID or not. I mean, just so that we're not passing around all kinds of other stuff, stomach flus and, all kinds of colds and all that other stuff. But it does cycle back to the whole vaccination piece, which is just so important for people. I know the rates for our 60 and 65 and older are fairly good across the state. I mean, we've been getting our, statistics from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. So I applaud our seniors for really taking this seriously, doing what they need to do. But I also know I had a really, really disheartening discussion with one of my seniors the other day. He was coming through the lunch line last week, and he just looked kind of down in the dumps. And I said to him, I gave him his lunch, and I said to him, are you okay? And he said, I'm really not. He said, I don't understand people. And he has relatives living out of state, including his own children. And he said, they're just refusing to get vaccinated. And he said, I don't know what to do. Like, he said, I don't know what else to do besides, encourage, support, throw the information out that we know. So it is just so important. We just keep circling back to that,
Well, and I think that the rationale for vaccination is not just to protect yourself and keep yourself out of the hospital or from dying, which is, that's, everybody wants that, but it's also to get this to a point where we don't have to talk about it, think about it, and do all these extra things all the time, because you have to get to a certain percentage of people vaccinated in order to get that that herd immunity. To stop community spread.
Right.
So, and that number is usually around 70%. We got really close to that percentage statewide, and that's why the governor lifted all of the mandates. But in this area, we're still only at about 51%. We got a long way to go.
We do.
And if we don't get there, there's going to be mask discussions. There's going to be mask arguments. There's going to be, all kinds of local mandates that are going to happen, school issues and everything else that I guess I don't know why people want to live like this.
I know,
And
we
the
can
only
avoid
way to
this.
solve it-
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
avoid this.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember not so long ago when we were just all praying that there would be a vaccine, and I can remember our phones ringing off the hook in February with seniors who were desperate when the vaccine first came, get me an appointment, register me, help me. We had senior center directors that were getting up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to jump on the computer to try to register their folks. So, how did we go from that to now that it's there, it's available, you have 3 different vaccines to choose from, and we're like begging people to go and get it. It's just like, it's hard to fathom this. It really is.
Well, there's certain people, and to get vaccinated, and those are the ones that are anti-vaccination that get COVID.
Yeah.
And I promise you that if you get COVID, and I've been up against some of the most adamant people about government conspiracies. This is nonsense. It's not real. And honest to God, they get COVID, and it's a whole different song they're singing after that.
Absolutely.
So you can stand up to this as much as you want and not believe the science and not believe the government. But believe me, talk to a person who has had COVID or talk to a person whose family member has had COVID and wound up in the hospital from not being vaccinated. And it'll be a whole different world after that.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a little break here. When we come back, Joe, speaking of vaccines and speaking of the importance of good health, I want to talk a little bit about flu shots, this year's
Tina,
flu shots. Yes.
Why don't you just go right to the end because we're coming up on it. So.
Okay, very good. Then we will do that. So, Joe, we let's talk a little bit about, flu season is coming up. This is typically the time of year when we do, our flu clinics, the pharmacies and so forth. So we are doing the flu clinic, 3 flu clinics at the senior center in early October. It'll be the first week in October. We are booked. We are full. However, we are maintaining a small waiting list because we've already had some people that we did all the paperwork on and everything, and they made other arrangements or, were able to get their flu shot or saw their doctor, whatever. So they canceled out. So we do have a little bit of movement there. So I am still encouraging people to call, but just know that you would be put on a waiting list. But let's talk about this year's flu shot, Joe. What are your thoughts?
So we were looking at that earlier in the week because, and as you know, unfortunately, we're not able to participate in the flu clinic at the senior center just because of the uptick with COVID and not having the hands enough to do that this year,
Understood.
which is horribly disappointing to us. But so this year, one of the conversations we had with a group, Hampden County group, was the concern of people not getting vaccinated for the flu because of what happened last year. And what happened last year is our cases of flu plummeted to the lowest that they had ever been in a long time. And so I'm afraid, the whole group is afraid that people, are going to not do that because it's kind of like, well, what's the big deal if we're going to be under COVID precautions? And that worked last year to help people not get the flu.
Sure.
And, so I'm not saying there might be a little bit of resistance to that or a little bit of maybe out of sight, out of mind sort of principle. But this year's vaccine is another quadrivalent. It's got 4 different strains of what the models show the most prevalent flu viruses are going to be this year. So this one actually looks better than we've seen in a long time as far as being effective for what's actually out there going around already.
Wow, that's awesome.
So 100% get the flu shot no matter what. I know that people are going to feel like they're protected because they're wearing masks or they're still abiding by certain control measures for COVID, but it's what's almost as bad as COVID is the getting the flu, especially if you 100% if you have any comorbidities, any asthma and all those kinds of things. I think those people that have those conditions usually are really good about getting vaccinated.
Yeah,
but,
they really are. I think that you're right. Yeah. I also want to, I do want to do a shout out to the Stop and Shop Pharmacy who really stepped up to the plate to work with us on this. As Joe mentioned, we had originally planned to have the health department, as they typically do 2 of our clinics, and Stop and Shop was going to do a third. We were actually adding a third this year so that we could help more folks. And with the health department really out straight, they were really being slammed with, COVID and some staffing issues and so forth. I reached out to Stop and Shop and asked them if they could do all 3 clinics, and they very graciously agreed and have been a terrific partner for us. We will be doing the flu shots this year indoors. We're doing the scheduling. This year, what we did was all of the paperwork has been completed ahead of time, and all of the insurance cards have been brought to the senior center. So we have copies of everyone's insurance card. We just have, I think, about 10 people that were still waiting for that. But other than that, because we really want the process the day of to be very quick and very smooth, because as you may or may not know, we have room capacities listed throughout the senior center. So for our great room, which is where we'll be doing the flu clinics, we can only have 40 in there at one time. So we are, we want to get people in get their shot, do their observation, and then get out without having a lot of sitting around with paperwork and so forth. We are sending folks a letter, as we did last year, which is timing is really crucial. So you need to show up at your scheduled time, not, a half hour before or an hour later or whatever, because we don't want a big backlog. We just want to keep the traffic flowing appropriately. So thank you to Stop and Shop for doing that. And I'm sure, Joe, when everything blows over with or settles down with COVID, I don't think it's ever going to blow over, but when things kind of settle down, we'll be back to working with the health department on that.
Yeah, and we're really excited to get things down to a point where we can move on and do other community health issues. And speaking of community health, I know I mentioned this to you, Tina, but starting next week, I believe that's the week, Pete, the first Wednesday of the month.
Correct.
I'm going to have a little spin-off show from
Joe's getting his own show, so that's a great way to end. So tell us about your show, Joe.
So I kind of thought about it a lot. So we like to call this community radio. So it's going to be community health for community radio.
I love it.
And we're not going to just talk about COVID. We're not going to just talk about it. In fact, I'm going to do everything I can, unless I absolutely have to not talk about it. And it's going to be more about, the real stuff that we should be talking about all the time with, different programs, of talking to different people that provide community health services. And I'm very excited. And my first guest, most appropriately, obviously has to be my mother, Carol Palmer.
I told Joe it's different. He's going to have to wear a different hat as a host than a guest.
I know. It is. It's very different to be on the other side of the microphone, Joe, but I know you're going to do great. And you know what? I think I'm always looking for the silver linings, as we all know. So I think one of the silver linings, believe it or not, with this pandemic is that it has put a focus on public health in general for all the cities and towns, not just in Massachusetts, but across the country. So I think this is a perfect way to start your new program with people having an idea of, wow, I think a lot of people didn't realize what the public health department was all about, what they do, what its purpose, its mission, and so forth. And I think now people have a better understanding. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to kind of start bringing in your guest, Joe, to say, okay, other than COVID, these are all the other things that we're doing, and these are all the other things that we need to pay attention to. So that will be the first Wednesday of the month at what time?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yep.
8 to 9? Is it
Yes,
going to be 1
8 to
hour?
9, yep.
So it'll be 8 to 9 on the first Wednesday of the month, so starting in October. So, Joe, best of luck with that show. We are wrapping things up here. Harry Rock is waiting in the wings, in the bullpen, as it were, with his guest coming on, Jean Thoreau, today. So, everyone, take care, be good. And, Joe, your final words?
Stay healthy, my friend.
There you go. We'll see you next week.